Hockey's high school cathedral. Two teams are headed to the altar, that is Grand Casino Arena. For one, always a bride, the other, a bridesmaid. It's a Section 4A final between the Mahtomedi Zephers and the Chisago Lakes Wildcats here on Suburban Community Channels, TV 19. With Carl Warner, I'm Alex Wested, and Carl, this is a bracket that largely has played out as most people expected it to.
The double-A side of Section 4 on the reverse side of that, but here in single A, you could definitely say that, Alex. Here we got the chalk, number 1 and number 2, Mahtomedi and Chisago Lakes here in the final, and many people expected it, but it's the matchup that we're going to get.
Well, it's not quite St. Patrick's Day yet, but for the Mahtomedi Zephers, their player to watch, having a career best year, the junior from Forest Lake, it's Devin O'Donnell.
O'Donnell has been absolutely magnificent here. He's got 6 points in the sections already. He's got 31 points on the year, and he's better passing the puck than scoring, at least on the score sheet. 14 goals, 17 assists.
And a Mahtomedi connection for the Chisago Lakes Wildcats, as the former Mahtomedi Zephyr, Jacob Clenny, looks to do damage tonight in a different number.
Yeah, their senior forward, he was originally supposed to do his upperclassman years of high school hockey at Mahtomedi. Then he switched over to Chisago Lakes, and in the sections, he's already got 12 points. Number 21 is going to be electric tonight, and just to clarify, he is number 13 in warmups because it appears that he may have left his jersey at home.
It's a great goaltending matchup tonight here at Aldrich Arena. The Mahtomedi Zephers turn to their senior, Jackson Chesick.
Yes, they will, and he stopped 25 out of 26 saves the last time that these teams played, about 30 days ago in January, and he's going to have another matchup tonight against Chisago Lakes with a trip to the state tournament on the line.
It'll be another matchup as well for the Wildcats goaltender, the sophomore Jacob Sheppy.
And he was tested, to say the very least, the last time these two teams played 1 month ago. He had 51 saves on 55 shots. We'll see if the Zephers are able to run up the scoreboard like that again tonight.
And for the 4th time in 5 seasons, the Mahtomedi Zephers and the Chisago Lakes Wildcats coming up here at historic Aldrich Arena. One of these teams will be headed to the state tournament next week. The other will have their season end tonight. It's the Zephers and the Wildcats coming up next on your home for Mahtomedi Boys High School Hockey, Suburban Community Channels, TV 19.
Some people judge a book by its cover, and if you're not what people are looking for, you're kind of like a reject.
At school, it feels like everyone's staring at me and I'm just kind of not really a person.
Sometimes I can't believe that you could be proud of me if I'm not proud of myself.
It just was hard today. Nobody was listening to me.
Think of our best times together. Let's do more of that.
Try to understand me more, and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at sounditouttogether.org.
Right on the east side since 1962, historic Aldrich Arena in Maplewood, Minnesota, the side of the Section 4A final. For the 4th time in the last 5 years, the Mahtomedi Zephers and the Wildcats of Chisago Lakes. With Carl Warner, I'm Alex Wested. Carl, it's all led up to this. There will be a yard sale in 51 minutes' time. This is what high school hockey's all about.
And the only question left is we have both chalk number 1, number 2 teams here is who is going to be providing the goods of that yard sale.
The officials tonight, it's a CCHA crew out of Division 1. Rick Nelson and Mark Engstrom are the officials tonight. Travis Hansen and Billy Hansa are the linesmen. Goaltending matchup again tonight for Mahtomedi, the senior Jackson Chesick. 19 wins in 2 seasons, as Mahtomedi's starting goaltender has 6 straight wins against Class A opponents. 25 saves on 26 shots against the Wildcats in January. And did pick up a loss to the Wildcats last season, but did not play in last year's Section 4A final.
Dreams are about to be made here in a hockey paradise.
We are waiting for the testing of the goal line at the Zamboni entrance, the west end of historic Aldrich Arena. It is not yet signaled, but Rick Nelson is ready to drop the puck. We are ready to play. It's a hockey night in Maplewood, the Section 4A final. The puck is down, and we're underway from historic Aldrich Arena. Levasseur to start for Chisago Lakes as the Wildcats will enter the zone. Quick shot towards Chesick. He tried to get it out quickly, but it's held on to. 12 seconds gone in the first period.
And now the conversation we had last night for White Bear Lake and Stillwater might be the same conversation we should be happening about Chisago Lakes right now. If they're going to have an opportunity to win this game, they may need to pounce on Mahtomedi early.
Sledham, the face-off taker for Chisago Lakes. Wildcats, their route to get here. Wins over Simley and Tartan, outscoring those 2 teams on aggregate 18-3 in 2 games. This is the test of another nature tonight.
And Mahtomedi was pretty good in the aggregate too. 16-1 between St. Paul and Hastings.
On to the far side, Warnke unable to touch it. This will go back into the Zephyr zone. Icing is called here. We'll get our first look at the starting goaltender tonight for Chisago Lakes and the Wildcats. It's a sophomore, Jacob Sheppy. Was absolutely peppered the first time that they played against each other in late January. He made 51 saves on 55 shots. There was a box score that had him have 81 saves in the shutout against Osseo, but that does seem a tad off. Starting goaltender after last year's goaltender transferred to Lakeville South.
Speaking of which, Lakeville South in one section final just starting right now against Farmington in 1AA.
One of 9 section finals today, and Sheppy holds on for a face-off. It's that Thursday ramp-up into that final Friday for Section 4AA tomorrow, White Bear Lake and Gentry Academy. And that should be another good one here in historic Aldrich Arena.
Cougars and Tigers tonight, Stars and Bears tomorrow, Wildcats and Zephers right now.
Face-off to Schleppy's left. As the face-off was sent back onto the far side, Hansen tried to play it along. White Rabbit trying to go around the boards. It's frozen once again by Sheppy.
Something
Hold on
I've
for another
noticed
face-off.
right away, Alex, is Sheppy, he's taken a few shots already, and he hasn't covered them up immediately. A lot of them have resulted in rebounds.
The ice at Aldrich Arena plays pretty fast historically. The Murray boys hockey head coach Bill Lechner loved it when a gentleman by the name of Ralphie would set the ice because it was always a little extra wet. And the pucks would travel just a little bit slower just because of how fast this ice can play. Back behind. Pepper able to get to it and send it back behind for White Rabbit. Then looks to go further ahead, looking for the one wearing the Kirkgau jersey, but is still at this time Jacob Cletty. He doesn't have his 21 jersey yet.
And again, in case you're just joining us tonight, yes, indeed, that is Jacob Cletty. But apparently he left his jersey back in Chisago Lake, so a runner of some sort is going to get it.
Shot by Henry Samper, smothered by Sheppy. And an early storm being weathered on both sides. Shots now 5-2 in favor of Mahtomedi already. And for the Wildcats, Carl, if they can keep those shots to the outside, keep them square, they'll like their chances tonight. Face-off win for Mahtomedi.
And after some initial fire from Chisago Lakes, Mahtomedi now out shooting Chisago 5-2.
Ryan knocked back off the puck. Regathered by Max Cook in the defensive zone. Levasseur tried to pass it out in front. Sheppy was starting to come out to play the puck in the slot.
Yeah, Sheppy almost doing his best Marc-Andre Fleury impression.
Another puck into Mahtomedi's defensive zone, icing the call. 15:04 to go, first period of play. And the game still looking for its first score. These two played earlier in the season. It was a 4-1 win for Mahtomedi in Chisago Lakes. And the Zephers really have done damage against Section 4A teams over the last 5 years. Another backhand, they score! Backdoor feed, Devin O'Donnell, 1 minute and 2 seconds in. And just like that, we're off and rolling in Mahtomedi.
Sheppy never saw it. He thought it was going behind him on the boards, bounced right back. And now already he's got teammates going over to tell him it's all right, you're still in this. If you take a look at this replay here, just a perfect bounce to Devin O'Donnell. Hanging up the phone, trying to hang up Chisago Lake's season.
O'Donnell the goal. It's his 15th on the year. He's been red hot in the postseason. That's his 4th goal in Section 4A in the playoffs, and his 5th goal in the last 4 games.
We got a broken twig out there. It looks like one of our linesmen is picking it up, putting it in the bench. And now we got clear sheet ice.
Off to the far side, going right back in on goal, saved by Sheppy. As it was gotten to Vinny Redpath, the sophomore. Had a good look out in front, and Sheppy makes a save.
The top 2 performers for Mahtomedi, statistics-wise, have both had golden opportunities. One of them ended up in a goal, and the other one ended up in this. And Chisago Lake's lucky they're not down 2-0 right now, as O'Donnell, Redpath, who has 28 points on the season, was able to walk right in.
Redpath 3 goals in the month of February, 1 against these Wildcats back in late January. Their puck is frozen and shots on goal now 8-2 in favor of Mahtomedi. Face-off stung to the end boards. Zephers were the first one on possession. Hazelar was able to get to it before the breakout begins now for Jacob Clenny. Hansen into the zone, tries to cut to the slot, deferred there by Zach Zins. And the Zephers will take it back onto the near side. Here's Brayton first. He'll start the breakout for Mahtomedi. First into the zone, tries to cut around the defense, and Levasseur sends it back to the far side, where it's picked up by Colton Horan. 13:55 to go, first period, 1-0 Mahtomedi. That shot goes into the rafters here at Aldrich Arena. Results in a face-off in Mahtomedi's zone.
That safety net is pretty high, Alex, but that one nearly went to the mezzanine.
The only netting here at Aldrich Arena is that on the ends. The concession stand on the east end and the ticketing office entrance on the other side. Face off to Cheswick's right. On it for Mahtomedi, it'll be Brock Gutterman with assists in 3 straight games entering this one tonight. It's stung to the corner. Big reverse check is thrown on by Carson Purdy, and the Wildcats walk away with possession. Ryan lost it in his skates, overskated it, and now it's picked back up by Cook, who sends it down into the corner. Zins will ring it around to the far side. Levasseur had it at center. Now a chance on a breakaway for Blake Loida. Loida looked for the pass out in front for O'Donnell. And it's rung back behind as Cook was able to send it back dangerously into the slot. Flung down the length of the ice for icing by Carson Purdy. And another face-off in Chisago Lake's defensive zone.
Heck of a shift there by number 5, Max Cook, for Chisago Lakes. He has, I'm not kidding, 37 assists on the season. The #1 dime dropper on Chisago Lakes.
And 10 points clear of a season high. 3 high school seasons, 103 points over those seasons. In section play alone, Cook has had 9 points with 4 assists against Tartan and 4 assists against Simley. Race the puck is on. White Rabbit tried to play it alive before Redpath able to get to it in the corner. Back to the blue line. Henry Samper shot through. Save made by Sheppy. And he holds on for a face-off.
Zephers nearly got that redirection right there.
13:03 to go. First period of play. Devin O'Donnell the lone goal so far, but as it was in January, the Zephyrs firing shots on goal.
Mahtomedi, after being backed up into their own end for the first couple minutes, they've been sweltering the Wildcats.
Here's Carlson, 2-on-1, has Warnke with him. Warnke into the slot, save! Made by Jackson Chesick. Samper flings it back through center. White Rabbit sent it further ahead. The cycle for Carlson, he'll dump it on Chesick and make another save. Henry Samper looks to go further up ahead. A big check behind the play. White Rabbit sends it high into the glove of Chesick, who puts it right back down into play. Cody Loida forced to the corner boards. Tries to clear the zone. Knocked down by White Rabbit. Carlson. And then knocked back off the puck the opposite side by Jacob Pletty. Here's Cody Loida. He looked to start the breakout for Mahtomedi. Loida into the zone, deferred by White Rabbit, and the puck back through center. Cale Brummel picked it up. He'll dump it into the zone. White Rabbit picks it there and look to the far side for Pletty before it gets back into the possession of Cale Brummel.
Wildcats finally able to get a change. Had a lot of players reaching there.
4 into the zone. Shot for a rebound. Picked up by Horak on the near side. Horak will try to go around. It's frozen there by Chesick. And a face-off in Mahtomedi's zone with 11:50 to go in period number 1.
How about this action we've had here, even in the last couple of minutes, Alex? Some heavy hitting and some genuine chances for Chisago Lakes.
Face-off to the left of Jackson Chesick. Will be Nick Hansen on the draw. The +6 rating against Simley in the quarterfinal round. Career best in goals and assists. He's got 7 and 15. On a drive, Cook looks to go for a follow-through. It's picked up by Pletty. Spin and a drive. That comes back here to the near side. Levasseur holds it in. Horak cutting his way to the net. Horak knocked off of the puck. And the fight for it, still Horak had it with an assist from Cook. The Zephyrs gather center ice and send it back down. Levasseur looks to go for Cook. Levasseur on the near side. As Chisago Lakes looks to stretch the play. Hansen deferred into the zone on a good stick by Desalar. Horak will pick it up at center. Tries to gain the line. Dumps it into the corner. Hansen on it for the Wildcats. The first to it, though, Trevor Rogaszewski for Mahtomedi. Cook, Hansen looking for a shot. Hansen saved by Chesick.
And there was a last-minute post-whistle cross-check there. And I am shocked that Mahtomedi is not sending a player to the box right now. That was late after the whistle. And there's a big difference between pushing and shoving and a cross-check. Watch number 15 right there.
Easton Desalar. At one point this season, when last we covered, or at least last I covered, Mahtomedi against Northfield, he had his only 4 points were goals. Well, since then, for him, he's added 5 more goals and 3 assists. 2-on-2 through center. Here's Brock Gutterman. Goes around the net. Gutterman looking for a pass. It flutters into the air. And gone to by the goaltender, Jacob Sheppy. He holds on.
Gutterman showing off that lightning speed.
Brock Gutterman, the sophomore, 5'8", 150. Last goal was February the 5th against Simley. If he scores tonight, it'll be a career high. The next point he has, he did pick up one on the initial goal by Devin O'Donnell, so it's a new career high in assists as well with his 22nd point on the year. Warnke taken to the end boards by Zins. O'Donnell tries to fling it back out through center. It's picked up there by Blake Loida. Race for the puck is on. Onside as Brock Gutterman sends it towards goaltender for Chisago Lakes, Jacob Sheppy. He holds on for another face-off. 10:26 to go in period number 1.
Chisago Lakes looking to break the drought. Haven't been to the state tournament since 2014. They've been runners-up 6 times in the last 11 years. You're always the bridesmaid, never the bride analogy from earlier, ringing quite true.
Shot on from Samper. Warnke picks up the rebound, looks to gain the attacking zone. The tough part for Chisago Lakes, Kyle, in that stretch as well. 3 of those times have been to the Mahtomedi Zephyrs, once here and twice at Roseville Ice Arena. Tepper trying to gather it up. Pass back into the slot, looking for the outlet. Score! Tommy Bowe, 2-0 Zephyrs. It is early, but the Zephyrs are flying high at Aldrich.
Things are not looking great for Chisago Lakes' chances of breaking that 2014 drought. And a good decision to take a shot, considered passing. He let it rip, and now they're up 2-0. We still got 10 minutes to go in the first.
As this puck will go back into the defensive zone. Stopped by Chesek. And run around back to the far side. Hansen looks for Horak back out in the slot. Levasseur picks it up at center. And it's taken now over by Gagnelius. Levasseur with a backhanded pass. Resets for Cook. 2-0 Zephyrs. The team that often cruises through games here in the Section 4A playoffs. Out shooting now. 13-5 are the Zephyrs over Chisago Lakes. Another. A goal! Caden Gagnelius! And the route is on!
Gagnelius with an amazing shift. He was the one that made the defensive play on the other end, goes the full length of the ice, and puts the Zephyrs up 3-0. You see the hustle here. As he gets the pass, they stay on sides, right over the glove. Chisago Lakes, I'm not wondering if they would consider taking timeout here. This one may be over before it even starts.
7:32, the time of the third goal. 3 goals for Mahtomedi on 14 shots. And it's all Zephyrs in the early going after a brief Chisago Lake storm. Zephyrs up by 3. Trevor Rogaszewski held at the blue line by White Rabbit, sent in off of the skate of Cale Brummel. Pursuit of the puck is on. They'll send it right into the referee, Rick Nelson, as play will continue to move.
Nelson's had a tough night in that end so far. He's been bumped into a couple times.
Back on the counter, Purdy knocked off the puck. It's taken back over by Trevor Rogaszewski. He sent it further ahead before he withstands 2 checks. Gajeski here, tried to cut his way back in, lost his edge. The arms stayed down for the time being. And Carl, is a trend we saw last night as well. Penalties not getting called, and the result being decided by those who can actually touch the puck.
Only 1 power play for each team last night between Stillwater and White Bear Lake. See how many times the whistles come out of the pockets tonight, metaphorically.
Tepper, a shot and a save made by Chesek. He holds on for another faceoff. And really, for all intents and purposes, Chisago Lakes started the better, had chances in that first 30 seconds, but then since then, Mahtomedi's really taken it to task here one way or another. Kind of got that feeling as well when you were talking to the students, the confidence on the side of Mahtomedi.
You absolutely felt it. I mean, I went over there and talked to the USA themed student section tonight, and they felt calm, cool as a cucumber over there. And now, puck seems to be played with a high stick.
So the faceoff will result in Chisago Lake's defensive zone. 8:13 to go in period number 1. A couple of early scores from elsewhere today. Minnetonka leading Chanhassen by a score of 2-1. Andover up on Centennial, 2-0 there. All the other games so far scoreless. And indeed, we have the jersey arrive.
It's
the 21
happening right now. Cleddy just finishing putting on his 21 jersey, and I don't know who was responsible for being the runner, but I gotta say hats off to them.
I mean, what did it take? 25 minutes after the game start, 20 really after the anthem and everything? That's pretty good timing.
I need a short film documentary submitted to award shows about what that was like, the process of getting Cleddy the correct jersey tonight.
Zins further ahead for O'Donnell, gathered up by Cook at center. And back on the attack goes the Wildcats. The team historically in Chisago Lakes that has done well on offense, scoring about 4.5 goals per game, but stymied here so far. A turnover, in, try to lift it high. Off the stick of Brock Gutterman, it comes all the way back here to the blue line. Riker Dunbar puts it down and low, back out in front, looking for the stick of Blake Loida, and it's taken back into Mahtomedi's defensive zone.
And that will allow Chisago to change.
Zephyr's back in. O'Donnell, a pass, a beauty. Gutterman unable to finish that as Seppi was down and out.
Gutterman thought he had him beat, but here's the 2-on-2 the other way.
Horak back out in front after the pass from Cletty. He was looking for the rebound. And it was cleared back out through center once again.
Mahtomedi has just been playing at a faster speed all night thus far than the Wildcats have.
Held in by Loida. It's dumped into the corner. And White Rabbit will be the first to get to it there. White Rabbit, another Mahtomedi transfer. He was part of the Mahtomedi Bantam program. His brother Ryan played at Gentry Academy, and he'll play for Augustana and the Vikings in the CCHA next season. Here's Cletty. Looks to start a breakout. Wildcats in need of a goal, or at least some momentum here. Chesak left it behind. Here's Henry Samper, the main commit. Samper over the line. He'll try the left side. Cutting behind the net. Samper. Offsides? No. Whistle behind the play. And the arms of the referee is up. The net slightly ajar, so a face-off in Chisago Lake's defensive zone. It's not the posts really that are in. It's more of a gentle spike here at Aldrich Arena, maybe half a centimeter in depth. So the net coming off of its moorings, not all that uncommon here at Aldrich. Another puck frozen by Sheppy.
The Wildcats losing 4 of their final 6 regular season games heading into the section tournament. Making it all the way here to the section final, and at this point, looks like their season may only be a couple periods away from ending.
Wins against South St. Paul and Minneapolis, losses to Pine City and Hibbing Chisholm, both of those at home. Hibbing Chisholm is headed to the state tournament as Section 7A's winner. Samper a draw. That goes to the far side. Lloyd will send it towards goal. I think Sheppy got a part of it. Samper comes down into the middle.
Just beat him over the glove again.
Loida lost a handle on it. Warnke was dropping down for the block. Sledham's first to it for Chisago Lakes. Sledham will send it into the zone, and the pursuit of the puck is on. Here's Samper. To start it, Sledham went to go high. It's taken over now by Zephers far side. Here's Tommy Bowe with a second Zephyr goal. Back out Zephers, shot, save made by Sheppy. And still Mahtomedi, after that save, they come away with the puck. To the blue line. Down low, perfect pass out in front of Vinny Redpath. A shot blocked into the netting and another face-off in the Wildcats' defensive zone.
Zephyr's doing a fantastic job right now of puck control, taking their time mentally. It really feels like Chisago Lakes, they're going for the home run hit, as now one of our officials is having a conversation with some of the arena staff here.
With the goal judge and with the section manager, Mr. Jeff Whistler. Though I'm not quite sure what about. Second shot followed through. And it's 2 shots on that possession by Desalar. And first, another shot on from the blue line. Cale Bro holds on for another face-up. Well, you saw on your screen Jeff Poschel, head coach of the Mahtomedi Zephers, his 29th season as the bench boss of Mahtomedi. He was a former Hill Murray Pioneer, a former Hill Murray Pioneer goaltender, and was a CCHA Player of the Year as a goaltender when he played for the Wildcats of Northern Michigan. Cletty, near side for Horak on his 3rd high school team. Knocked down by the stick of Trevor Rogoszewski and back through center. Here onto the near side, Desalar. White Rabbit picks it up at the blue line. A shot through, that was blocked by Rogoszewski. Another shot on, held on to by Chesak.
Rogoszewski with a great block there. What I'm really watching for right now is the Chisago Lakes, the vibes, the attitudes right now on the bench, on the ice, down by 3 with still quite a bit of time to go.
4:39 here in the first period, plus another 2. Shots on goal have slowed slightly, but still 19-9 in favor of Mahtomedi here in the early going. Cook on the give and go off the face-off play. Comes back to the near side. O'Donnell looks to start the breakout. And further ahead, Gutterman looks to spring Mahtomedi into the zone. Cook will intercept. He'll slow back down in the corner. And he'll look for a pass long. Chipped in. And on goal, it will bounce a couple of times to Mahtomedi's goaltender Jackson Jezik, and another face-off at Mahtomedi's end.
Happens a few times a year in every single league, even the NHL, where an awkward bounce like that somehow finds its way into the back of the net.
Mahtomedi students, a lot to cheer for so far. As they'll watch this face-off right in front of them. 4:18 to go. Gutterman and Purdy on the draw. Purdy was able to send it to the end boards. Big body collision there on both sides. On the breakout, Rocker Dunbar. Now a chance 2-on-2 for Mahtomedi into the zone, cutting in. Great defensive play by Cook. But another takeaway as Mahtomedi had the puck briefly and lost it again. Zach Zins will send it toward the Mahtomedi zone, not offside as O'Donnell had it just on the right spot of the blue line.
Wildcats just unable to put anything together in the neutral zone.
Levasseur looks further ahead for Ryan. Zins will intercept, try to go further ahead for O'Donnell. And Levasseur will race to the puck into the corner. Has his pocket picked by Vinny Redpath. To Zins at the dot, a shot through, blocked high off the glass here at historic Aldrich Arena. Back behind, Will Zephers taken to the corner, cleared out towards the blue line. Now a chance for Chisago Lakes, 2-on-2. Sledham has Warnke in. Sledham a nice move, but denied by Zins on the second. Zephers back on the counter. Here's Will Zephers. Zephers escorted to the corner by White Rabbit. And it's White Rabbit who came away with it. Cleared back out. Loida, backhanded chance in the slot by Vinny Redpath. And it's picked up and flung as far as center. For Samper, now back in Vinny Redpath. Redpath goes further ahead. Shot on, saved by Chesick off the stick of Tommy Bow, and another chance out in front. As Bow had it back on the other side. Here's Warnke. He'll start a 2-on-2 with Carlson. Warnke over the line, trying to get around Samper, and Samper uses the body well to cut him off of the play.
Severs was a little slow to get up after he took a hit on the other end. Now he's still on the ice there for Mahtomedi.
The cut to the net, and save on the first. The follow through is a goal, and it's 4-0 Mahtomedi. 2:22 to go in period number 1.
And guess who? It's Severs. He salutes the bench. And the Zephers, they're about 36 minutes away from making it to the promised land.
Of all the high school hockey experts in the state of Minnesota, I think most would say Mahtomedi was the favorite on paper. I don't know if I would have had him at this much of a favorite. 4-0. With still 2 minutes to go in period number 1. Incredible.
And Alex, I do wonder if at this point the message from the Mahtomedi coaching staff has to be, hey, if we continue to run this up, we might get a higher seed in the state tournament.
In the NPI, not the NPI, that's college hockey. In the QRF in Minnesota-scores.net, Mahtomedi of the teams remaining would be the 4th highest. But obviously, with good teams in Class A that have already qualified and some that are qualifying tonight, having that high seed, all the more important. Mahtomedi back into the zone. First, try to cut back through in the net. And into the goaltender was Caden Gagnelius, who went low on Sheppy.
And I'm glad that Gagnelius is able to get up right away because it looked like he went ribs first right into the post.
First time didn't work. Second time followed through. Severs with the tally.
Everything coming up blue and yellow.
Face off to Sheppy's left. One by Sledham, cleared out by Cook. Now Clenny carries back through center for Horak. Shot blocked out in front by Rogaszewski into the netting. And a face-off in Mahtomedi's end. 23-10 shots on goal now in favor of Mahtomedi with 1:30 to go in period number 1. Just an incredible scene here so far at Aldrich Arena. 4-0 Mahtomedi. And all the goals from 4 different goal scorers. O'Donnell, Gagnelius, Zephers. Loida, I believe, just incredible. Off the glove of Horak. Go back towards Chesik, and even though Mahtomedi out shooting Chisago Lakes almost 2-1, Chesik has still had to make the saves that have flung his way. Still with 11 saves so far.
Yes, he has. Chisago Lakes, they've had their chances.
Picked up at center, Gagnelius into the zone. They're trying to cut around Cook, and Gagnelius instead will try to pass it back through the slot. It's loose in the slot. Comes all the way back out over the head from Riker Dunbar. Rung back behind, O'Donnell. A pass, looking back for a connection. Letty comes back to pick it up for Chisago Lakes.
When these teams played in January, there was only 1 goal scored in the first period. We've already got 4.
All for the Mason goal. Shot from Gunnerman, looking for a redirection from O'Donnell. And it'll come here to the near side. Wildcats will fling it out. Horak sends it down the length of the ice, where another icing call arrives with 23.7 to go in period number 1.
As we get closer to the first intermission here, I wonder what the message from both teams in the locker room is going to be, because although a 4-0 lead is better insurance than you could ever ask for, you don't want your players to get complicit or play at half speed and maybe risk getting injured. And for Chisago Lakes, how do you inspire them to keep playing as hard as they can?
Back for O'Donnell on the far side. It goes past him. Loida sends it down into the corner where Blake Loida can pick it up here. Flung out as far as center. Warnke as the period expires. Warnke for Ryan from the wall. And the horn will sound in a decisive, dominant 4-0 first period for Mahtomedi. And a game where we expected 2 high-flying offenses to go toe-to-toe with each other. The Zephyrs came out flying, and they lead 4-0 on 4 beautiful goals in this opening period.
4-0 is the story. Even the shots on goal, 24-11. Mahtomedi 34 minutes away from going right back to where they've been 8 of the last 9 years, state tournament.
Goals by O'Donnell, Bow, Zephers, and Gagnelius. 4 different goal scorers for Mahtomedi. They lead 4-0 after a period of play. Coming back, we'll talk about what happened. 4-0 Zephyrs here on your home for Mahtomedi Boys High School Hockey, Suburban Community Channels, TV 19.
There I was, 16, divorced, remarried with a baby, another on the way, and I could barely read or write. It was time for me to change my life and the lives of my family, so I went back and I got my high school diploma. That was the catalyst I needed. Now I have a bachelor's, a master's, and I became a teacher.
Mom, this is your very first yearbook.
Your commitment to education motivates me, your coworkers, and your students.
You showed me that if you come from nothing, you can still be anything.
You told me I deserve to succeed. It's been 15 years, and I still live by that.
You're the model for success for your kids, grandkids, and your students.
When I look at all these success stories, I cannot help but think it all started by getting my high school diploma.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Four different goal scorers for the Mahtomedi Zephers. And despite a great regular season, an exclamation point so far through 17 minutes of play, Mahtomedi 4, Chisago Lakes 0. Here at historic Aldrich Arena in the Section 4A final. With Carl Warner, I'm Alex Weston. And Carl, again, thinking about here in this intermission, just how quickly Mahtomedi turned that page, weathered a storm that first 30 seconds, but then really took over the rest of the period.
For a tournament, not just the state tournament, but section tournament as well, for a tournament that is based so much on dramatics, Mahtomedi looking to make anything but a drama fest. They want the third period to be a running clock, not a nail-biter.
Devin O'Donnell, the first goal for Mahtomedi. Wildcats would have some chances, but Jackson Chesak stopped all 11 shots flung his way in the period. And it helps with the Zephyr train committee coming through and really laying the lumber down.
Mahtomedi has just been playing faster, stronger, and smarter for the first 17 minutes. And with 34 to go, Chisago Lakes has a heavy, heavy mountain to climb.
It's Tommy Bowe on the second goal, then a great two-end effort by Caden Gagnelius made it 3-0 for the Mahtomedi Zephers.
Just a gorgeous top-shelf goal. And we haven't even gotten to the fourth one yet. Moving here through the neutral zone. The initial deke hits the post, and then tucking it right in with Zephers.
That's the Mahtomedi Zephyr goal scoring summary here in period number 1. The Selly button has been used well in the Mahtomedi side of the ice, and it's been all Zephyr's through 17.
And I tell you what, the Chisago Lake students, they also have a Selly button, but it hasn't been pressed yet. 4-0 Mahtomedi, shots on goal doubling the Chisago Lakes total, and you just see the scoring opportunities. It's really telling the story of the game, and no penalties yet.
Well, the Mahtomedi Zephers, they're in a spot where they're used to being here in Section 4A, used to being in this championship game. And, well, it's wash, rinse, repeat for the Zephers, back here for the 10th straight year.
Yeah, and they're looking to make the state for the 9th time in the last 10 seasons. And we talked about it during the first period, 33-1 against section opponents since they last did not make it to the state tournament. And they outscored opponents. I mean, I don't even have to read the number. You can see it. It's gargantuous. And then that one loss being the exception. We thought that was going to be the story, the one loss being to Chisago Lakes last season. But Mahtomedi, they're leaving room for no questions.
Wildcats, too, you talk about their storyline, you talk about where they're at, thinking about how do they avoid being the runner-up once again. Fortunately, they're on the wrong end of that stick once again, even with some Mahtomedi connections.
And even with those connections, even with the superlatives, they are playing in the section final for the 4th time in the last 5 seasons, but they just haven't been able to get over the Mahtomedi-sized hump. Of course, last year, the story of their goalie transferring to Lakeville South. They've got quite the task ahead of them.
4-0 Mahtomedi after 1 period of play. Shots on goal 24-11 in favor of the Zephers. We'll be back for the start of period number 2 in moments. 4-0 Mahtomedi. The Section 4A final here on your home for Mahtomedi Boys High School Hockey. Suburban Community Channels, TV 19.
My dad showcased a sense of love that I never had before. It felt like it was something that I've always wanted. I mean, he's not only my parent, like he's like my best friend.
Learn about adopting a teen at adoptuskids.org.
Calling all big thinkers. The world's climate is changing. These aren't new facts, but it means we must think in new ways. Engineers are answering the call to create solutions that decrease our dependence on fossil fuels, taking lessons from the best engineer out there, nature. Engineers are creating cleaner, safer, and reliable energy.
And gold, like what happened in the first 17 minutes. They'll try to replicate it here in the second. They lead 4-0 after 17 minutes of play. With Carl Warner, I'm Alex Westhead. And Carl, for Chisago Lakes, this first minute of the second period, something, anything just to get their offense going.
They had a spark in the first minute of the first period, and they're going to need an entire fire here in the second period.
And if there's any positive note for Chisago Lakes, as many as can be trailing 4-0, Their best goal differential period is the second, and Mahtomedi's happens to be their worst period. So maybe Chisago Lakes gets one, and we're talking about a whole new game after 34 minutes than we were about 17. But Mahtomedi knows how to shut the door.
It feels like we've already played an entire hockey game just in that first period alone. Of course, we had basically double the scoring we had in last night's entire game in just the first period. And it'll be interesting to see the energy that Mahtomedi comes out with, because the Zephyrs, they could easily play this safe right now and just coast to the end, but Chisago Lakes might try to take advantage of that.
The two teams will switch ends, the period of the long change, and we're ready to go for the face-off. Bowen Sledham on it. It's won by Tommy Bowe to Zins, and we're back underway. Riker Dunbar further ahead and taken back into the defensive zone for Mahtomedi, where Riker Dunbar can regather. Here's Zach Zins, looks further up ahead, trying to go for a pass on the near side for Will Zephers with one of the 4 Zephyr goals tonight. Instead, it rings back onto the opposite side. Oh, the pass, it's taken back over. On the attack, Ashton Warnke. Warnke had it left behind. Cook gathers it into the corner. And it's gathered there by Dunbar. Zephers flings it high through the legs of Cook, gathered up at center. Now into the zone goes Mahtomedi. Shot on off the stick of Lavasser. And to the far side, Sledham tries to clear the zone for Chisago Lakes. Sledham held the blue line briefly, but Cook has to regain at center. Cook will dump it in. Lines will change for the Wildcats. 16:05 to go, second period, 4-0. Mahtomedi in front of Chisago Lakes in this Section 4A final. And once again, we have an icing call 1:03 into the period.
Already a lot of questions being answered about the vibe of this second period. Mahtomedi, as you take a look at that statistic there, Mahtomedi 10-1-0 when leading after one, and that's just when leading after one, not when leading 4-0 after one.
Mahtomedi this season, and they play a very difficult schedule. The 11 goals they had against St. Paul and the St. Paul Co-op in the section quarterfinal round, the most they had against any opponent this season. It's cleared back out as far as center by Horak. Samper goes defensively to reset. He'll cut back there. Goes for a long stretch pass out to center for first. Now back into the zone goes Gagnelius. Gagnelius teed up a drive, tried to go low to the leg side. Samper will regather at center. Loida sent it in towards goal. Back to the far side. White Rabbit. Stick was lifted. Cleared back out to center. Desalar picks it up. And Sheppy will stop it behind the Wildcat net. Almost a smell of burnt popcorn here at Aldrich Arena that's just really permeating throughout the building.
I was about to say something, so I'm glad I'm not the only one.
It's one thing when it's, a fresh batch of popcorn really brings out the atmosphere, but when it burns, it just permeates all throughout the building. Not in the good way. Held in by O'Donnell. O'Donnell walking, trying to drop it off out in front for Loida. And it leaks back through center where the race for the puck is on. Trevor Rogaszewski will let the goaltender in Chesak play it further up ahead.
For a minute, I thought that burning smell was coming from the Mahtomedi bench, considering how they've been just putting on the afterburners, skating here.
And they look for another one. It's a tip in. They are on fire. Brock Gutterman tallies a fifth tonight. It's 5-0 Mahtomedi in the Section 4A final.
We talked about the speed all night, the crisp passing we've seen here in the second period, and what a gorgeous pass. It doesn't get any better than that for Gutterman.
Gutterman becomes the 5th goal scorer of the night for Mahtomedi. 5-0 Zephers. And for Mahtomedi, all they can do now is play defense, possess the puck, and watch the clock. Dunbar off to the far side. It's taken back behind, rung here to the near side. An attempt to be held in there by Julian Chisago.
Just playing keep away at this point.
Dunbar flung back to the red line. Lost into the skates of Henrik Buckley, and Buckley a big check at the boards by Purdy. But Purdy was the one who ended up on his seat, and a penalty coming here.
Yeah, Purdy was on the receiving end of a retaliatory check. And Purdy is almost lucky he didn't go head straight as he lays one in now too. And we have a lot to clean up here.
So a penalty is coming at 13:45 left in the second period. The question just is how many and to who? The Zephyr door is open. It's the senior Julian Chisago who is headed to the bench, or the penalty box rather. Will there be any others? As Rick Nelson will have a conversation with his counterpart, Mr. Engstrom.
It appears he is going to be on his lonesome over there as the Chisago Lake students finally get their first chance to chant tonight, despite the fact they're down 5-0.
I guess the question of where was the contact?
The debate of how severe this penalty is going to be, how long will he sit in the box? So take another look here.
Let's take a look live in real time. It will be a 5. And it'll be 5 minutes for boarding for our public address announcer, Kirk Posell, giving Chisago Lakes, and even in a 5-0 game, Carl, that 5-minute power play, it can be lethal.
It can be. Chisago Lakes an opportunity to play for a long time now with an extra skater, and what I'm really interested to see is Mahtomedi going to be able to outskate even down one player.
We will find out. Starts with a good clear here all the way back to the Wildcats defensive zone, and White Rabbit will play it up the boards. Wildcats on the power play. They were limited to one power play in the first period only. In the January game when these two teams played up in Chisago City. In the section round, they are 1 for 5 are the Wildcats on the power play. The lone power play goal coming against the Simley Spartans. They'll tie up onto the end boards. Clock winding down on the power play time, but still score as you wish for the Wildcats if they can get a shot on goal. Pletty left it behind. Horak, a drive in and out of the glove of Chisago. And the backhand cleared by Loida only goes back to Horak. Horak a shot blocked by Chisago all the way back out to center. That was Loida rather on the block shot.
He pays the price, but he cleared the zone.
Wildcats are offside, and how about the block by the senior Cody Loida? Nicely done by him.
And Loida's getting a lot of appreciation tapped as he's gotten back, and now the athletic trainer will look at him for a moment and just have a brief conversation.
There's Ashton Warnke. Sent back in, 3:55 to go on the major power play. Chance on a shorthanded bid perhaps, as the Zephyrs have numbers 3-on-2.
And they got speed.
First, try to drive it in on Desalar. Shot, score! Shorthanded goal! Easton Desalar finishes off a shorty at 6. Bagel Mahtomedi.
Even short-handed Mahtomedi just taking advantage with their speed here. And what a shot. And now looks like we are going to have a timeout here of sorts. And it was indeed called by the bench of Chisago Lakes. And I wonder if we will see a goaltender switch here, or if they'll just continue to ride it out.
6 goals by the Mahtomedi Zephyrs from 6 different goal scorers. And for Mahtomedi, the shoe still fits. Short-handed bid with numbers. Desalar from a sharp angle.
I have no idea what Chisago Lake's intention on defense was there. They had 3 players chasing one guy wearing a white jersey. And that has just been a microcosm, and there have been so many different microcosms tonight of why Chisago Lakes is down 6-0 with over half of the game still remaining. And if we go 12 more minutes, they're going to qualify for running time already.
Wildcats still on the power play. Hoping to at least find one. They'll have to go chase out of their own zone. White Rabbit left it for Zephers. Letty tried to start the breakout. Now Sledham does have it into the attacking zone. Sledham teed up a drive, missed the net. Wide to the right for the goaltender Jackson Chesak. Cook at the blue line. Cook to the near side for Cletty. Goes down in low for Horak. Cletty at the dot, hit off the stick of Sledham out in front. And an unfriendly bounce into the netting for a face-off in the defensive zone.
And White Rabbit, one of so many seniors for Chisago Lakes that desperately don't want to be playing in their final high school game right now, but seemingly looking more expecting by the minute.
White Rabbit, Cook, Temper, Sledham, Cletty, Dickinson, Horak, Purdy, and the senior goaltender Ethan Carlson, who's on the bench right now. All players who do not want their journey to end tonight. A turnover here. And the Zephyrs will hold on. It was Sheppy who gave it up. Shot through, blocker saved Sheppy.
Sheppy nearly lost his stick there, able to hold on to the knob.
Desalar onto the near side. Check to the boards was first. And here go the Wildcats through neutral ice. 2:44 to go in the power play. Cletty looks for a drop. Blocked out in front. I think it hit off the skate in the body of Desalar. On the far side, Cook walks to the top of the circle. A shot through off the end board. Zins tries to clear and instead clears it to the corner. Cletty at the near side looking for a redirection. Sledham sent it to the corner under the near side. Cook back behind. Dunbar into the skate. It's taken by Cook to the near side. Was looking for Horak. Sledham was in the area. And back to the blue line for Cletty. 2:09 to go in this power play. 6-0. Mahtomedi. Sledham a drive. That missed wide to the left.
Maybe their best chance of the game right there.
Cletty. White Rabbit. Another drive. Save made by Chesak. And the follow through by Sledham goes over the net.
Can't believe that one didn't go in.
Dunbar clears. 1:49 to go on the power play. 10:32 left to go in period number 2.
The Zephyrs get fresh killers out there.
Cletty tries to deke. Sent the shot through, but missed wide left. Horak at the blue line. Opposite side for White Rabbit. Cletty, a drive. Saved by Chesak and reaches for the rebound. Six nothing Mahtomedi. Minute 26 to go in the power play. Another face-off to Jackson Chesak's right. Back to the blue line. Held in the zone. Good defensive play by Quinlan Ryan.
And he might have a 6-goal cushion, but Chesak is earning his money as Mahtomedi threatens again.
Gagnilius collides with Ryan. It's taken by Loida. Loida for wraparound, looking back out on the opposite side for Gagnilius.
Let him walk right up to him.
Here's Warnke. Tees up a drive. Saved by Chesak. He holds on for another face-off. 59 seconds remaining in the major power play. 9:44 to go. Period number 2. Mahtomedi 6, Chisago Lakes 0.
And this man advantage might be the most critical part of the game for Mahtomedi as they try to preserve a shutout for Chesak.
A couple other Class A scores right now. Warroad 2-0 on Detroit Lakes. And Mankato West 1-0 over Laverne in 1A. Elsewhere, 2-1 Sartell over Northern Lakes, and Blake and Delano. Good game out in Minneapolis. 1-1 the score there. White Rabbit trying to clear the zone. Rogaszewski intercepted briefly. Cletty, an awkward play there as Sledham and Rogaszewski made some contact with each other. Now Cletty looks to skate up the ice. Cletty gathered back up, glove down at center by White Rabbit, who sends it into the defensive zone of the Zephyrs with 28 seconds remaining on this power play. Long stretch pass, looking further ahead and got to Henrik Buckley. Buckley on another short-handed bid off the stick of Horak, and White Rabbit will take it over. Blake Bentz for Horak. Take over for Chisago Lakes, gathers it into the corner and dumps it back down. Rung around by Riker Dunbar. Horak will hold it at the blue line. He's bothered by Buckley, trying to clear the puck out of the zone. And now they'll tussle 3 on to his side as the Zephyrs have killed off all 5 minutes of the major power play. Cook back in, saved by Jackson Jesup.
The only scoreboard damage done on that 5-minute kill was by the killers themselves. Mahtomedi adding the short-handed goal.
It's a third short-handed goal for the Zephyrs this year. They've given up 4 in the last month. But when you get one of your own, it's all the more sweeter. It adds to this 6-0 lead. Shots have really calmed down here in this period, Carl. It was 24-11 after 17 minutes. Right now, 26-16.
You have to credit some of that to the 5-minute penalty kill, but I agree. Mahtomedi has been prioritizing a lot more of puck control and picking and choosing their opportunities. Don't want to have any dumb turnovers here. Just trying to glide through the last 25 minutes before they're off to St. Paul, unless something dramatically switches up.
And I don't want to be mean to Chisago Lakes here, but if something were to happen, it'd be storyline of the year at least, maybe even the decade. On the counter, Blake Loida. Put back out, held in at the blue line. Dunbar sends it to the near side for Blake Loida here. Loida behind for Gutterman. Walks back to the dot, leaves it for Riker Dunbar. Dunbar cutting towards the net, trying to go for the backhand. On the post, out in front. Slapped aside by Sheppy. A high stick is called. The faceoff will come out of the zone.
Yeah, our collegiate officials all over that tonight. As we reach the end of the college hockey season here as well. A few more weekends of that to enjoy.
Pretty good year for 3 of the 6 Division I teams in the state of Minnesota. St. Thomas, Minnesota State, and Minnesota Duluth, all with NCAA tournament aspirations.
And it was a tough weekend for the folks up at the Lee and Penny Anderson Arena. But St. Thomas, the men's team, still definitely threatening to make that national tournament in year 1 of eligibility.
15th in the NPI, they'd be the last at large. And we are used to seeing bid stealers in the NCAA. Wouldn't be surprised if we see at least one, either Hockey East or the NCHC. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Loida trying to carry it in. Sledham back to the far side. Horak through neutral for Cletty into his skates, and Cletty gains his own. Cletty rubbed off the puck by Loida, and then reset for Sampere. Henry Sampere, 3 assists in 10 games for the Octok Oilers of the BCHL this season. He played for Hill Murray as a freshman in the last 2 seasons for the Long Island Goals. What a chance on the follow-through by Loida. The Zephyrs, even though they're up 6-0, 7:05 to go second period, they are not putting on the brakes at all. Fight for the puck in the corner. Dickinson holds the Zephyr there. And trying to skate free out of it was Caden Gagnelius. Gagnelius from the circle leaves it for Sampere. Sampere pass through, out in front, looking for the redirection. As out in front was Desalar, and just missed on the second chance. Another pass into the slot, another follow through. And here to the near side, Cletty picks it up. One back out through center. Zephyrs regain the zone. Sampere to a knee, drops it off. Here's a chance now for Bo, save, and a delayed penalty call coming as well. And it'll be the Zephyrs headed into a power play.
And it's White Rabbit on his way to the box.
It'll be a hooking call coming against White Rabbit. Time of the penalty, 10:37, second period. And the Zephyrs will get their first crack on a power play here tonight.
And the Zephyrs have been so fantastic at even strength and shorthanded. This is the only one we haven't yet seen tonight. How ironic would it be if they didn't score?
Zephyrs were fantastic back in January. They went 2 for 3 on the power play against Chisago Lakes in late January. Stung here to the near side.
Nice stick there by Carlson.
And Loida will carry it back into the defensive zone as Mahtomedi can just eat the clock here with the man advantage if they'd like, or try for the extra point.
And Aldrich Arena has seen a lot of hockey games over the years, a lot of section finals. This might be the quietest one they've heard in a long time.
Riker Dunbar sent a pass through, was blocked out in front. As Quinlan Ryan tried to carry it, now another turnover. Loida leaves it, Rogaszewski far side, save made by Jacob Sheppy from a great passing play into the zone by Mahtomedi.
We talked about the acoustics in here last night. When this place is loud, you feel the foundation shaking. And here in the middle of the second period, almost everybody is sitting on their hands, either waiting to celebrate or waiting for this to pay tribute to their seniors.
Bo at the blue line. Sampera drive, saved by Sheppy. Off the end boards. Taken down low, Braden first. To the blue line for Gutterman. Bo, Samper. Samper walking, creating some space. A shot through. Sheppy makes a fine glove save. 40 seconds remaining on the Zephyr power play. Penalty kill for Chisago Lakes in the section postseason. They've been shorthanded a concerning number of times in the Section 4A playoffs, but they have been good, allowing just one power play goal on 7 opportunities. Face-off win by Mahtomedi. Bo, Samper, back to Bo at the point. To the far side for Gutterman. Gutterman down low. Around they'll go. First, and back for Bo. Gutterman to the near side, was looking for Samper. Good stick by Sledham. Samper for Bo. Samper, another good save on a long shot towards Jacob Sheppy. He holds on for another save. 16 seconds remaining of power play time. 4:39 to go, period number 2. Zephyrs have tacked on twice. Here in period number 2, they lead 6-0.
And White Rabbit still sitting down in the penalty box. Now he finally stands up as Chisago Lake's about to go full strength once again.
Ryan cut it towards the net. Samper takes over. Wildcats are back to full strength. Zephyrs in the attacking zone. First heat up a drive, sent it right into Levasseur. And a world of hurt for that block. Samper another shot that blocked out in front. I think it was off of Cook that time. And it goes down and low. On the backdoor feed, looking for Buckley on the path from Vinny Redpath.
It was Levasseur who just made the play again.
They'll tie up in the corner. It's taken free. Backhanded out by Zach Carlson. Race to the puck is on. Zephyrs are there first. Blake Bentz will pick it up off the end boards for Cale Brummel. Bentz, as the whistle will blow, the net was knocked off as a Wildcat and Ashton Warnke lost his edges, glided into the net, and there'll be a face-off. That'll be a last play draw at neutral ice with 3:42 to go.
Levasseur, he hobbles towards the athletic trainers. He showed some serious guts. And no, he's gonna let out some expletives, but he's not even gonna go speak to the athletic trainers. He was amazing on that last shift, and that shows a lot of character, considering they're down 6-0 to still put your body on the line.
White Rabbit will try a check. It allows space for Cletty to briefly get possession before Mahtomedi retakes it back. Into the corner for Braden first. First into the corner, goes down. The arm of the referee is up. There might be another penalty here, as we'll see what happens in a 6-0 game. How many penalties are assessed? At least one. Will there be more? And it looks like it'll be White Rabbit headed back to the penalty box where he just sat for 2 minutes.
And a bare minimum here in this section final. At this point, it's 6-0. You just don't want to see the game get too ugly. You don't want anybody to get hurt. This is a big sportsmanship opportunity for both teams involved.
2-minute penalty on White Rabbit. It'll be 2 minutes for cross-checking. And another look in the corner.
And that is as good of a look as you're going to get. Shout out to our fantastic SCC crew.
Up the face-off, Cletty ahead for Sledham. As the Wildcats looking for a short-banded bid. Shot on by Cletty, was saved by Chesek. Here's Loida. Start the breakout here, or maybe just find some club. Riker Dunbar onto the right side. Zephers will gain the attacking zone for Will Zephers. Zephers around far side. Sledham back to center, too far for Cletty. Then regathered up by Loida. Cletty knocks it off the puck of Loida. Sends a pass back to the far side. No receiver there. Here's Zephers. Zephyrs have numbers.
We're in the middle of a power play, and it feels like the air has been taken out of this building. There's just no noise in here. You can hear a pin drop inside of Aldrich right now.
Cletty tries to clear it back to center. It's right in front of the Zephyr bench as they'll fight for it right in front of the Mason goal. A bit on. Zephers drops it off. Save made by Jacob Sheppy, and a beauty of a chance as Rogaszewski bid for 7th.
Rogaszewski was seeing nothing but green when he got that beautiful pass, but the door was slammed shut.
Rogaszewski's been good in the section playoffs. He's got 4 assists so far. 4 goals for him this season. It's a career high. Face-off controlled. Into the corner for Braden First. He'll take it behind for Samper. First, and right back to Samper with 41 to go on the power play. Samper, teed up a drive. Bonker save made by Sheppy. And a loose puck, first gotten to by Chisago Lakes, and cleared the length of the ice by Gavin Dickinson. Here's Samper. As the future Maine Black Bear will gather some speed. Samper into the zone, cuts towards the net, drops it off. The net was ajar on the side, but it refound its mooring. Gutterman goes down low for First. First, Gutterman walks it back to the dot. Pass back out in front, Samper at the blue line. They'll go down and low, working, cycling, shot for a redirection of First out in front, and the Wildcats back to full strength. First will leave it there. Redpath takes it to the near side for Samper. Redpath gets the puck right back and goes back to work behind. Shot from a sharp angle, hit the side of the net and goes wide. Back on the wraparound, save made by Sheppy. As bidding for a bid out in front was Brock Gutterman. And Sheppy holds on for a face-off with 1 minute and 2 to go in period number 2.
Watching Samper is a delight. What an absolutely phenomenal player. Mahtomedi just continues to tick away here. 37-18. The shots on goal difference.
In this period, 13-7. On the far side, Wildcats looking for something here. Zins back to center. Knocked down there by Buckley. And the puck back into the Mahtomedi defensive zone. Sledham looks for a pass, will circle. Has Horak down and low, instead goes back to the blue line for Levasseur. Horak to the opposite side, shot from a long way out. Sledham sent it wide. Go back down and low. Cutting back was Gagnelius. Here to the near side, Brummel. Go further, back up ahead for Buckley, and now back into the zone. Cut to the net by Desalar with a pass back to the slot. Zins has it far side. Zins, blue line, drive, hit off the top of Sheppy, and it goes back on the far side where Zins will just send it back down. White Rabbit, a turnover. Buckley out in front, shot towards the goal, save made by Sheppy. At the blue line, piston shot through, off to the far side. Zins has it at the blue line. He'll dump it back down. The horn will sound. And when the third period begins, clock operator here at Aldrich Arena will push the button down, and he will set down the device. As it's 6-0 Mahtomedi. 4-0 after 1. The Zephyrs tack on 2 in the second. And the Zephyrs 17 minutes away from representing Section 4 yet again.
Just a dominating performance by the Zephyrs. And the Wildcats are going to have some interesting discussions during this, what is most likely going to be their final intermission of their season and the final intermission of several high school careers.
So 6-0 Mahtomedi after 2 periods of play. Zephers 17 minutes away from a yard sale and a return to Grand Casino Arena. Hey, come on back. We'll talk some second period highlights and go around the state. You're watching boys high school hockey on your home for the Mahtomedi Zephers, Suburban Community Channels, TV 19.
Buckle up! Nobody is more prepared for an emergency than Dogman.
With all your kung fu skills and your canine fortitude or whatnot.
But for the rest of us, a good plan goes a long way.
Come on, let's go!
So, whether it's an unexpected disaster or the world's most evilest cat bent on destroying all do-gooders,
Destroy all do-gooders!
you can help your family be ready for anything.
No time to waste. Will you get out of here?
Get started today at ready.gov/kids.
Well, the one place tonight where Zephers and Wildcats have gotten along happens to be in the stands. On the ice, a little more difficult, 6-0 Mahtomedi after 2 periods of play. With Carl Warner, I'm Alex Westhead, a great crew here tonight for Suburban Community Channels, TV 19. And it's been all Mahtomedi, Carl. I mean, we've said it over the course of these first 2 periods. There's not much more that can be said. It's just been Zephers from pillar to post.
This was a competitive hockey game for about the first 85 seconds. And ever since, Mahtomedi has just been all gas, no brakes, shorthanded, even strength. Not power play yet, but you watch the reel over and over, and it looks like I have no words.
Brock Gutterman with the shorthanded goal. That made it 5-0. Zephers would continue to add, continue to create. They do so there. On a beautiful bid, Easton Desalar. With a goal that made it 6-0 Mahtomedi. And the Zephers, again, a little bit of a worry wart just in terms of like how their goaltending bounced back. Jackson Chisago has been just as well in net for the Zephers.
Chisago was tested during that 5-minute major penalty. And he's still got the shutout alive for right now.
After 2 periods, Zephers out shooting Chisago Lakes almost 2-1. Scoring opportunities have been prohibitively in favor of Mahtomedi, and the stats really indicate what the eyes have shown us tonight.
They absolutely have, and at this point for Mahtomedi, they are 17 minutes away from once again winning Section 4A for the 9th time in 10 years.
The only team that they have lost to in that time was Gentry Academy, now the Stars at 2A.
And they're playing for the AA championship tomorrow night.
Well, here in Class A, the top 10 rankings finds a number of good teams. Hermantown is out, Sartell leading right now over Northern Lakes. But a Class A field that'll have a lot of its feature stars in that tournament at Grand Casino Arena once again.
The names that you're used to hearing there during the single A tournament. Looks like War Road is going to be a part of that once again. And we are going to have a sensational Class A tournament of the general admission, just as good as the AA tournament on Thursday and in the evenings.
So the Zephyr fans, Zephyr students love what they're seeing so far. And they'll love it in 17 more minutes if the Zephers can hold on. 6-0 Mahtomedi after 2 periods of play here on your home for Zephyr boys hockey. Suburban Community Channels, TV 19.
Everyone has a ritual. That small thing we do to keep us focused.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game?
To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health.
Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Find the resources you need to keep your mental health a priority.
Love your mind.
My dad showcased a sense of love that I never had before. It felt like it was something that I've always wanted. I mean, he's not only my parent, like he's like my best friend.
Learn about adopting a teen at adoptuskids.org.
St. Cloud Cathedral, Hibbing, Chisholm, and Dodge County so far in Class A. Mahtomedi looks to be the fourth as they lead Chisago Lakes 6-0. Here's we get set for the start of the final period at historic Aldrich Arena with Carl Warner. I'm Alex Westhead, and Carl, the question is, what kind of energy do we see out of each of these teams in the final 17 minutes of play?
It's a great question because with the 6-goal difference, the running clock being on, there's going to be a big question of sportsmanship, but then there's also the question of if you play slower, you might risk an injury here, and there's going to have to be a weird mix for these last 17 minutes, whether or not the running clock stays on the whole time.
Goaltender for Chisago Lakes, Jacob Sheppy, still in net, as is Jackson Chesak on the opposite side for Mahtomedi. Games in Class A, Delano leads Blake 3-1. In Class A, Sartell leads Northern Lakes 2-1. And Warroad up on Detroit Lakes 2-0. And Cato West and Laverne are 1-1. So our Class A field will be determined tonight. The only game tomorrow will be Gentry Academy and White Bear Lake right back here, historic Aldrich Arena at 7 p.m. Tommy Bowe will look to start the breakout. He's continue to hold the puck into the zone. It comes back to Bowe on the near side. And it's sent back down, run around by Vinny Redpath. It's a dive here on the half wall. Riker Dunbar sent a shot that took a couple of sticks out in front. Zins has it on the far side wall. Wildcats trying to start the breakout. Bowe picks it up. He'll dump it down into the corner. Zephers on the rush. Warnke able to handle it now 2-on-2. Zephers will have to play defense here. Sledham sends a shot through. Blocker to side by Chesak. Another one shoved with the leg pad by Jackson Chesak. Sledham a drive. Another save by Chesak. That one with another leg pad save from the blue line. Warnke carried back in, turned it back over. Lavasser picks it up at neutral ice. Hansen will gather. Hansen will try to carry it in. Hansen in towards goal. Denied briefly by Loida. And the puck will go back to the far side, or can be taken back over by Mahtomedi.
Trying to join the highlight reel like what we saw in Edina last night, or in Ritter, but with Edina.
One of the all-time strangest goals you'll ever see. Off the back of the glass, and then great hand-eye coordination as the Edina Hornets took care of business against Wyzetta at Ritter Arena last night. Cletty with a shot that missed top corner. Cook brings behind. Cletty has it there, backhanded out. Hansen scores! And Chisago Lakes breaks up the shutout as a goal tacked on by Nick Hansen makes it 6-1 Mahtomedi.
Something to celebrate after what's been a difficult game, and what'll be a difficult final game for so many players. Not Nick Hansen's final game. Able to bring some joy to the student section, of which none of them have left. The same size has not deteriorated from the beginning.
Hansen will tack on to a career best in goals. That's his 8th on the season. That makes it 6-1. The run clock has stopped. And we're back to the regular stop time game. Purdy, as the Wildcats have a 3-on-3, now 3-on-2. Ryan left it behind. It was sent into the corner by Blake Loida. Ryan picks it up for Chisago Lakes. Ryan for Lavasser. Teed up a drive, goes to the far side corner. Cook at the blue line. Pushed down in low. Looking back in space, hit off the stick of Purdy. And comes back here to the near side.
Good to see Lavasser moving around after he took a lot of punishment there late in the second with the block shot.
Number of block shots as well, and great leadership by Lavasser too. Even in a game that at the time was 6-0, still laying the body on the line. Really leading by example.
And they hope he continues to lead by example next year as a senior.
Face off to the right of Jackson Chesak, has stopped 20 of 21. so far this evening in this Section 4A final. Dunbar, Sledham, turns it over. It's taken by Caden Gagnelius with a goal today. All 6 goals for Mahtomedi have been from 6 different goal scorers. Sledham picks it up for Chisago. Lakes has Cletty in with him, turned it over. And taken back over down by Braden First. First has Desalar in with him. Desalar tries to fight through White Rabbit, and it's White Rabbit who walks away with it. Goes further up ahead for Horak. Horak into the zone, shot it wide. Cletty out of the corner. Had his stick lifted. Zephers will try to start the breakout. Sledham will take it back over. Sledham, a drive, blocked out in front, and another shot on the far side by Cletty.
Call me crazy, Alex, but I feel like Chisago Lakes has been playing one speed above Mahtomedi here at the start of the third. And you take a look at the records after 2. Chisago Lakes not so great when trailing after 2. Mahtomedi borderline unstoppable when leading after 2, much less leading by 5 or 6 after 2.
Redpath out in front was looking for Bo, but even still, just to see the heart of Chisago Lakes being down 6-0, getting a goal on the board. But Carl, you're absolutely right. They have been playing just a hair faster here in this third period. To be fair, I guess they need to, but still love to see it.
And that was a conversation we were having during the second intermission of what do you say if you're the coaching staff of Chisago Lakes in that intermission? Whatever was said seems to have fired him up, and maybe the conversation centered around, even if we don't win this game, these last 17 minutes are for the seniors.
And that'll put us back into running time. Will Zephers has the first multi-goal game as they'll shake hands on the dot on the far side. That'll make it 7-1 Mahtomedi.
And right now, Alex, what I'm thinking about as we continue to watch Mahtomedi take in the celebration, I'll actually get to my point here in a second as we appreciate this goal. Just beautiful there from Mahtomedi. There's another look, this time from the long angle. What I'm starting to wonder, Alex, is will we get a look at any change in net here for Chisago Lakes?
Kane Campbell is the backup goaltender on the bench for Chisago Lakes. Did not have a regular season appearance for the Wildcats. As the other goaltender that appeared in the regular season, Ethan Carlson, last played on February the 9th against Pine City in relief. Zephers on the breakout, back into running time. So Chisago will attack the zone. Followed up, attempted, and then cleared back out. This will go down the length of the ice and off of Chezik's leg pad. Meaning that play will have to continue. Loida looks to carry the puck for Mahtomedi. Goes to the near side. Into the zone it goes. Chisago is in on pursuit. Chisago pass out in front, looking for a redirection of Henrik Buckley. And it's taken back over now. Here's White Rabbit. As the attack is on for Chisago Lakes, it was Warnke who was on pursuit of the puck. Gutterman clears it back to center. Cook sent it back in. Now Gutterman has it back in on the attacking zone side. Gutterman has Chisago with him. Sent it back down and low.
I don't know if I've ever seen this before, Alex, but the band is leaving. With still 11 minutes to go in the third period. They're trying to beat the traffic, and I will say, as a person who waited 10 minutes in line here at Aldrich last night, it's probably not the easiest to get a bus out of here.
Back off to the far side. Even with the ceremony, still odd to see the band leave, but I guess it is a school day tomorrow.
It is, yes. And we have another great section final coming up tomorrow night. Got Gentry Academy. And on the other side, you got White Bear Lake. Not necessarily the matchup we thought we were going to see in Section 4 AA.
Two teams that share a rink, but not the two teams we were expecting. White Bear Lake and Hill Murray used to share this rink, Aldrich Arena. Cletty back in for Sledham. Save made by Chezik. He steers it to the corner.
Sharp blocker save there.
Borak back behind. Look for a pass out in front. Lost into the slot. Cletty tried to spin, try to get a shot on goal. But Loida flings it back out as far as center, down into the defensive zone, where icing is called. Clock will run, 10:29 and counting. But for the Bears tomorrow, as they take on Gentry Academy, the Stars at Gentry Academy, they have that main rink at TCO Sports Garden where they have some massive banners. I'm sure White Bear Lake is tired of seeing those banners being the largest ones in the arena.
Tomorrow night, another trip to the AA state tournament will be awarded here on this historic sheet of ice. 24 hours after we award, in all likelihood, Mahtomedi with the single A berth into the tournament.
Jackson Chesak had to have his goaltender stick replaced. It was taken to the bench. He's got a fresh piece of composite lumber. And we're back ready to play. Zaxon's behind. He'll cut it back. Puts up the far side. Looking to try to find Gagnelius. Back at center, it's knocked down, and they'll reset with the Zephers in their own zone. Of course, the Class A field will be decided tonight. Class 2A will await the final tomorrow here at Aldridge before that is decided. Again, the teams that are in for Class 2A right now, Edina is back, defending champion Moorhead is back, and games that are ongoing as of this moment, Minnetonka will return, Andover up 7-3 over Centennial. And still close one at Amsoil, Rockridge and Grand Rapids 1-1, and Lakeville South 3-0 over Farmington.
Rockridge, they played on Hockey Day Minnesota. A lot of teams played at that beautiful outdoor rink in Hastings, but Rockridge actually playing on Hockey Day itself.
It was really cool to see how Hastings did Hockey Day Minnesota this year. Mahtomedi part of it 3 years ago now. Outdoors at White Bear Township's Polar Lakes Park. They played Hermantown in a very good game. Dropped off, shot back, comes here to the near side for Bo. Of course, you were, as a Hastings guy, you got to be part of that, having Hockey Day Minnesota in your own town. Really quite a unique experience.
It really was, and unfortunately they didn't exactly get the greatest weather day. It was freezing upon freezing. But that being said, they did a wonderful job with the heated spaces and the transportation, and to my knowledge, everything went off really without a hitch, and just so amazing to have our great community of Hastings represented on a stage like that, and everything that Shane Hudella has done there with the foundation that supports the military families and giving affordable sports gear to so many different kids in those families. Really worth checking out.
Regional sports brought into the area as well as the first AHL game outdoors was played between the Milwaukee Admirals and the Iowa Wild. I was down in Des Moines filling in for a game down there for the Iowa Wild, and they had nothing but great things to say about the ice and all the crew in Hastings.
And I should have done more homework on who exactly this gentleman was. I didn't expect it to come up in conversation, but the play-by-play guy for the Iowa Wild, doing that entire game outside. Only so many spots in that heated press box there for Hockey Day Minnesota.
Well, it's Ben Gislason who does it for the Iowa Wild, as Zephers would be delayed offsides. They are offsides. Now there'll be another face-off at neutral ice. I, however, was in the heated press box in Hockey Day Minnesota in 2023 for Augsburg and St. John's. I wish I'd been outside. There's just something about calling a game outside, especially hockey, I think. In retrospect, I should have sat outside with the people.
Now last year, because they finished the permanent bleachers at the site down there in Hastings, but last year they had not finished it yet, so they put up the bleachers over the summer. I called a game from rink level, buried in a corner last year of the Hastings and Park girls. That was quite the experience. We had our hard cam up on a scissor ladder.
It's quite unique too. You think about all the great broadcast vantage points, you know, all of a sudden you do a game like hockey and you're not necessarily up high where you can see everything. It really does challenge how you see the game and how you see the ice.
And because of the outdoor temperatures, the glass that I was looking through, it literally had to be cleaned off every 10 minutes because of the fog.
Samper tries to cut in. He's taken down. Two Wildcats collide, and a second follow-through is sent towards goal, and a save made by Sheppy. But an odd sequence there. Two Wildcats going helmet-to-helmet with each other.
A mysterious sequence, and glad to see everybody getting up okay. And as we are less than 5 minutes and 30 seconds away, for Mahtomedi, as we take another look at this collision here. Ouch. Thankfully, we have a great staff of trainers on both benches. As we get closer here, 5 minutes and counting, You wonder what the celebration is going to look like when we reach triple zeros, if Mahtomedi is going to go full ham with it, or if it's just going to be a little bit more tight.
As pass further ahead, icing is waved off. Will Zephers with the brace tonight. He's fighting for it on in the corner. Sent back in, off the end boards. Can be taken there, another shot through, hit off the back of Cooper Topper for Chisago Lakes, and back to the far side corner.
And for Chisago Lakes tonight, this one game doesn't tell the entire story of their season. Another winning record of 16, 8-3. In the Mississippi 8 Conference, in there with Monticello, Cambridge Isanti, Pine City, and so many other good teams. This is a well-run organization, and there's a reason why they've been to so many of these championship games recently, even if they're not necessarily coming away victorious. They are due, and their time will be coming, whether if it's next year or the year after that. Mahtomedi is not the lone wolf here in Section 4A.
Chisago Lakes finishing 4th of 7 in the Mississippi 8 Conference this year. But to that pedigree, again, they have an NHLer, Blake Lazat, who played for Chisago Lakes, played collegiately for St. Cloud State, now in the Penguin system. Again, there's some really good potential, and Corey Lashenko really has his program in the right direction. Gutterman to the near side. They're trying to leave it back. It's taken over by Sledham. Well, you mentioned it a couple of times here. I don't think I've ever heard Aldrich as quiet as it's been here in this third period.
And quite a few members of the crowd have left, but we still have a pretty full house here. And again, I could probably do this broadcast with you right now, Alex, without the headset on, and I'd still be able to hear everything you're saying as an arm goes up in the air.
Cuddy was taken down to his seat. This will be tricky on the timing, as the clock will run and the penalty will not start until the puck is dropped, but it will be another power play for Chisago Lakes and chance to pull within 5 as the guilty party in this instance, Cale Brummel, the senior, headed to the penalty box.
And luckily for Brummel, it looks like he will be fully out of the box with a good 30, 40 seconds to go before the celebration begins. And Alex, I mean, what can you say about this Mahtomedi organization, the hockey program, and just not just the hockey program, but they are defending girls soccer state champions. So many amazing things going on inside that athletic department at Mahtomedi, and they're going back to the state tournament again for the 9th time in 10 years.
Took a while for Mahtomedi to actually get that state tournament championship. Finally getting the first in 2020, getting a second in 2023.
That's another thing to talk about. That I was looking at that earlier, that first state championship for them in 2020. That was the last major sporting event before the pandemic. Basically, the next couple of days is when all that started.
And our first broadcast back was a matchup between two of the state champions, Mahtomedi in Class A, and then Hill Murray in Class 2A. Minute 48 to go here, regulation time, 7-1 Mahtomedi. Penalty time is winding, as is the game timer.
So it looks like the penalty will be over with about 35 seconds to go in the game.
White Rabbit sent a shot towards Horak. Horak picks it up into the corner. Has Cleddy with him. Then the pass back through on the one-timer was looking for Cook. Cook shoves it aside, and it's cleared out by Riker Dunbar back down into the defensive zone for Chisago Lakes.
Now the anticipation beginning to build here on the Mahtomedi bench. All the players on their feet. They are ready to hop that bench. Well deserved. 70 seconds from now.
Long stretch pass for Horak. Horak escorted to the boards by Loida. Cook will come over as we're inside a minute to go here in regulation time. Samper flings it long up the ice. Cook can go further ahead for Zephers, looking for the hat trick. It goes to the far side for Cleddy. Cleddy will start the rush through neutral ice, carries it into the attacking zone.
Student managers wearing their suits. They are ready to go.
White Rabbit a drive, trying to go for the rebound of Sledham here onto the near side. And the pass back out in front as the Zephyrs return to full strength. This will go down the length of the ice, and icing is called. 30 seconds and counting to go. Will we get another face-off in this game? That is to be determined. Zephyrs will send players out to the ice. Chisago students on their feet, still applauding the effort and the opportunity for them to be in this section final game. But once more, it'll be the bridesmaid, not the bride, for the Wildcats of Chisago Lakes. One player escorted, and the horn sounds at Aldrich. The Zephers, champions again.
Two sides of a rink, two sides of the story.
Tonight's final score, ladies and gentlemen, Mahtomedi Zephers
7-1. The final tonight, Mahtomedi over Chisago Lakes. And for 30 seconds, a game that was competitive. But for the next 50 minutes and 30 seconds, the Zephers, the better of the team, and they proved it largely from pillar to post. Now for Mahtomedi, Jeff Poschel, another trip to the state tournament in his 29th year as head coach of Mahtomedi. He spent almost all of his years here, had 1 year as head coach of St. Thomas Academy, and has been here in Mahtomedi since. And their attention will turn to a competitive Class A field in the state tournament.
So many blue bloods returning to St. Paul. We are going to have some entertaining high school hockey in that NHL rink next weekend.
Chesak and Sledham will start the handshakes. It's a celebration of sportsmanship that happens after every game, but today, a rout for Mahtomedi.
A rout, and we'll see all the goals here. For Mahtomedi, they've scored 4 in the first. The last time these teams met, they started the game up 3-0, but they only scored 1 in the first. Tonight, the Zephers leaving no doubt.
For Mahtomedi on the attack, we can talk about the defense, we can talk about the goaltending. A big part of why this game was the result that it was, but the offense for Mahtomedi, perfect tape-to-tape passes, great setup, great follow-through. And I don't think anybody in the maize and gold had any idea that this would be what would happen. But the Zephers were perfect tonight.
They were perfect. Even on the penalty kill, they were perfect.
That's a shorthanded goal from Desalar. Made it at the time 6-0. That was the score after 2 periods of play. Wildcats would get one here. That made it 6-1, followed through by their forward in junior Nick Hansen. Then off of a turnover would be another for Mahtomedi, and the extra point is good. Mahtomedi 7, Chisago Lakes 1. And the Zephers head back to the state tournament for the 9th time in 10 years, and for the 4th time in the last 5, all against the Wildcats of Chisago Lakes.
The sun will rise tomorrow morning, and Mahtomedi is going back to the state hockey tournament. 2 sentences that long true. Take a look at the final stats there. The shots on goal, 42-28. The power play shots, but the most important stat right there up top, 7-1, as the Wildcats will go back home.
7-1 the final. 6 different goal scorers. Mahtomedi returns to a place where many think they belong, the Class A state tournament field in Grand Casino Arena. For Carl Warner and our entire Suburban Community Channel's TV19 crew, I'm Alex Westhead. Mahtomedi, your champions in Section 4A once again. You're on your home for Mahtomedi Boys High School Hockey, Suburban Community Channel's TV19. Hey, we'll talk again.